Do you ever get the feeling that the world changed so drastically so fast that it's almost like you've been isekaied? Like you woke up one day and the rules had just changed. For Millennials and Gen Z, that isn't a fantasy novel. It's our reality. We were forced into a different world where non-stop drama and scandalous headlines is a norm, and stability and common sense is hard to find or to maintain. For our parents' generation, the rules of the game seemed pretty simple. Work hard, buy a house, save for retirement, and you win. That world is gone. For millennials, the game glitched the moment we tried to play. We were just coming of age when the Great Recession of 2008 hit. It was the defining trauma of our generation, shattering the path our parents took. Many graduated from college with expensive degrees right as the job market evaporated, forcing us onto a very different path defined by stagnant wages and historic levels of student loan debt. That wasn't a temporary setback. It was a fundamental change to the world operating system. In this new world, we face a different set of monsters. The final boss of our parents was high mortgage rates. For us is trying to afford rent and groceries. Housing costs have systematically outpaced wages, making the dream of home ownership feel further away than ever for many. Even as millennials' wealth gap has become a wide chasm of the haves and the have-nots. And just as millennials started to find some footing after a decade of recovery, a new world-changing event arrived, the COVID-19 pandemic, which hit younger workers the hardest. For Gen Z, the world they were born into was already in hard mode. They watched millennials struggle and then got hit with their own unique catastrophes. They are now entering a workforce being actively rewritten by AI and facing a youth unemployment rate that, while improving, remains stubbornly high as of July of 2025. The rate of people aged 16 to 24 was 10.8%, and the so-called gig economy was pitched as a world of freedom, but for many, it's a realm of instability, forcing them to juggle multiple side hustles, not for extra cash, but for basic survival, all while being told that if we just stop buying avocado toast, we'll be fine. But does it feel like no matter how much we work, still can't get ahead? That's because we're trying to play by the rules of a game that no longer exists. This isn't a story of failure. It's a dystopian isekai story. For those who don't know, isekai is a genre of anime where the main characters get transported from their familiar world into a new, unfamiliar one. They have to learn new rules, face new dangers, and adapt to survive. Sounds familiar? We were all transported here without a tutorial. The advice from older generation often feels like a map to a world that doesn't exist anymore. They tell us about the land of pensions and affordable housing, while we're stuck navigating a landscape of student debt and gig work. But here's the plot twist. Like every good isekai protagonist, we are adapting and leveling up. The scars from these crises have forced us to become more resilient and financially savvy, and the data shows it's working. Despite the narrative of being financially behind, the total net worth of millennials have grown dramatically since 2019. From 3.93 trillion to over 15 trillion. By mid-2024, we're building that wealth in completely new ways compared to previous generations. We've embraced side hustles, becoming entrepreneurs, and are more likely to use sophisticated financial tools to our advantage. Gen Z is innovating at an even faster pace. They view their careers not as a linear ladder, but as a portfolio of skills they are constantly building, more than any generation before. They've embraced the flexibility of gig economy, not just as a necessity, but as a strategy. They're using new financial tools and are fundamentally rewriting the definition of a successful career. They aren't just surviving in this new world. They are starting to write its rules. Picture this. In the year 2125, university students are studying the age of the millennial generation, a bizarre period in the early 21st century. Their primary source aren't letters, government files, or even newspaper archives. They're watching our many archived videos and social media content. Thanks to digital preservation, every post, every story, every viral argument has been saved. They'll see a society completely swallowed by public debates and drama. They'll scroll through endless archives of influencers, frauds, and generational blame games, and they'll do this while living in a world shaped by the consequences of what we built in the present. While we were busy arguing, we were also contributing to increasing the dysfunctions of society while at the same time making the very AI that now structures their lives and making the economic blunders that becomes their historical burdens. Future generation will watch the current and past online videos and media, and they will judge our current society. The question is, will they see us with a sense of pride or shame? Imagine a historian of the future trying to understand our time. They won't be piecing together what we were thinking. They'll have a nearly infinite high-definition catalog of our time period. They'll have access to the digital library of all the drama, viral moments, successes, a chaotic landscape of short-form videos, memes, and comment wars. They'll see outrage cycles and public call-outs and the strange trends that captivated millions. They will see a generation of digital content and discover more than any history book and museum. A generation that claimed to value authenticity yet fueled a culture of performative, shallow conflict. For example, let's draw on the old fallen empire of Constantinople, where the political factions and elites were busy with internal squabbles, to notice a truly disruptive technology which is being prepared just outside their walls that will eventually make their defenses obsolete. They'll know we were facing enormous challenges: climate instability, economic inequality, political polarization, and yet the record will show we were distracted. They'll be left with a haunting question: did we use our incredible communication tools to solve our biggest problems, or just to document our own economic and intellectual decline? The most baffling paradox for future historians will be this: the same society that was obviously documenting petty dramas was also at the same exact time building the most transformative technology in human history. While we were all participating in viral dance challenges, we were also creating artificial intelligence. This is where that historical analog of Constantinople gets really chilling. For 1,000 years, the city's walls were considered impenetrable. The defenders grew complacent, trusting the old defenses, even as a new game-changing technology was being perfected by their adversaries. They knew about the cannons, but they failed to fully grasp the threat and adapt, and eventually the walls came down. For our era, AI is that cannon. It's a paradigm-shifting force that we're building and rolling out with incredible speed, often with little foresight. And all our social media infighting, that's the disunity and internal division that leaves the gates undefended. We're so busy arguing with each other that we fail to prepare for the technological siege we invited upon ourselves. Future generations, living with the fallouts or the benefits of what we created, will look back at this moment in utter bewilderment. They'll see the warnings we missed, the ethical corners we cut. They won't just judge us for what we built, but everything we ignored while we were building it. Our distraction came with a hefty price tag. Just as social media magnified our petty dramas, it also fueled some of our worst economic impulses. The 21st century has seen speculative frenzies that have echoed past market bubbles. But this time, the hype cycles are put on steroids with viral trends and social media influencers. Nowhere is there more obvious than in an AI gold rush. Global spending on artificial intelligence is exploding, with some forecasts projecting it could climb towards $2.5 trillion by the year 2026. We are in the middle of an investment frenzy of historical proportions, a massive gamble on a future we barely understand, and an economic consequences will be inherited by the generations many years in the future. And here's the final bitter irony: the very generations most immersed experts in digital world also hold a deep skepticism about where it's all heading. Research shows that a large portion of young adults are more concerned than excited about the rise of AI. A 2025 poll found that 53% of Gen Z adults feel anxious about AI. They feel the unease even as the economic engine of their time plows forward, powered by the same technology. They're living inside a paradox, participating in a culture of distraction, yet deeply wary of the technologies being built in the shadows. In the end, our legacy is going to be one of contradictions. We were the most documented society in history, and also the most distracted. We connected the entire globe only to yell at each other in a planetary scale echo chamber. We built super intelligent computers while indulging in the pettiest of human behaviors. The students of the year 2125 won't have to guess what we were thinking. They'll see it all. They will watch our videos, our rants, our challenges, our viral clips, and our memes. They will see what we valued, what we prioritized, what we ignored, and what we neglected. They will judge us for it. They will see that we had all the information, all the resources, and squandered our many opportunities. We need to do better and be better. Maybe future generations will judge our actions harshly or be empathetic. Maybe every generation is just a warning to the next. Do not repeat our mistakes. What do you think will be the single trend, argument, or piece of content from our era that will leave future historians the most baffled? Let me know in the comments. If you feel like you're falling behind or thriving in the current era, or you're just playing a different game, the difficulty was set to expert mode from the start. The constant crises weren't just obstacles. They were training arcs that made us tougher, smarter, and more adaptable. We survived recessions, pandemics, and many other world-changing events. We were forced into this strange new economic world, but we're learning to master it. The old ways, from getting a job to the dating market, are useless. We need to make our own way. And in this story, we are the main characters.